Good evening, viewers. Welcome once again to another episode of The Tower at UNN, here our TV, UNN television, as well as also streaming live on the radio UNN and all other channels that we subscribe to. It's a pleasure this evening, our dear viewers, that you are with us at The Tower at UNN. Get us right at our Facebook, UNN official, Chimbugwe Live on Facebook, as well as on YouTube, when we try to discuss issues that are trending within our country. Uganda at this time is at crossroad after a serious month of mysterious deaths of Ugandans. There's a lot of problems that have really trended this week, and we are going to make a diagnosis approach onto these issues. And by the end of the show, we shall be able to have an important and a well-guided analysis of the problems that we are having today. With me in the studio, I have Mr. Martin Biakuleka, who is one of the special guests that we have this evening. Can you say good evening to our viewers, Mr. Martin, and introduce yourself?
Hello, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to join you here at the Tower at UNN. My name, once again, is Martin Biakuleka, and most people don't know. They see me, but they don't know who exactly I am or what do I do. I'm a former Ugandan diplomat. I trained as a diplomat. Politics. No, I trained as a professional diplomat. There are some people who are professional diplomats. So I'm one of those people. Nabisoma. So I worked in government for 13 years. And I worked at the highest level of government. I also, today, after reading a significant amount of books, I am also an adjunct professor of management at several colleges, and I'm also an international development consultant. That area is an area I love very much, and anybody can consult me on issues of international development, but my particular area is bilateral and multilateral relations, especially pertaining to finance and trade. In my free time, I'm also president of CLOUD. CLOUD is Common League of Ugandans in the diaspora. I'm also one of the founders. That is a platform for Ugandans in the diaspora who are interested in the promotion of democracy and human rights in Uganda. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Mr. Richard Martin Biakuleka, to be with you at the Towers. With me again in the studio, I have Desire Nakauka, your usual analyst. Desire, can you greet your viewers and
good evening or good afternoon to whatever time zone you find yourself. To everyone, it's a pleasure to always be here, be given this opportunity to speak with the viewers and to exchange ideas, and then also lead to a genesis of new ideas that could push us as a people forward.
Go ahead.
And yeah, an introduction about myself. I've been around. Most people know me. I'm just an graduate, and I'm a student who I've done most of my studying has been in social sciences, and I like discussing political science and how we can change the living conditions of our people.
That's interesting, Desire. Nice having you today on the table of our the Tower at UNN. Let me start with you, Desire.
Yes.
The president, Museveni, has warned Ugandans about COVID, and he said people couldn't heed. In his address, as he was in the national prayers, the president was very categorical, saying that he has been all the time trying to warn the people of Uganda about COVID-19, and people didn't take it serious. Yeah. On the same very note, he was very, very, he attacked people that think Uganda should be ruled on the point of localism and also colloquialism. I want you in your brief analysis to go us through on what does President Museveni think about Ugandans. Is he taking them for granted, or he's what do you think?
What we see happening is a leader who has failed, and a leader who has failed to take the blame for their failures. Because the deficits of what's happening with COVID in Uganda has nothing to do with the people. It all comes down to the poor leadership that has been offered to the people. So the government has failed to put in place strategies that do help the people. Because you're not going to put a lockdown as a governmental institution of a country, but still allow for the traveling of tourists and other people into the country. And you've also not catered to what the people are going to feed on, how the food is going to be distributed, how stimulus checks are going to be provided. But even when stimulus checks are provided, the people who have lost employment, how is all of that supplemented? There is no action plan in place for that. So, and also the people are not informed well, because the way how people in Uganda are being informed about the SOPs or how to move forward with COVID, it has all been coming. We should take note that it's all coming from one man. It's all coming from the junta himself, saying this and that and this and this is what you ought to do. But also that is, we should all take note, it's mostly televised or radio or on radio. So how many people is this information actually reaching? And also how educative is this information? So I put all the blame, Museveni is just attributing all the blame to the people by going ahead and humiliating them. But all the blame should be actually on the junta himself, because the junta has failed and has put forth a system that will always fail the people and will never deliver to the people the way that a system should deliver to people in catastrophes like this.
Oh, thank you, Desire. Thank you very much for the insight. Again, in the studio, I have Madame Elizabeth Wamala has joined us. And Madame Elizabeth, can you greet our viewers as we start to, analyze things that are going on within Uganda? Yes, let me go to Mr. Byakuleka. The president, as I've mentioned, was categorical when he said that the measures that put across have been very, very clear, only that Ugandans are the ones that really don't want to go by those SOPs. Do you agree with what the president is saying, that he put across all the measures, but the Ugandans are the ones who are dissenting what they're supposed to do?
You see, I like as a student or a professor of management and politics, I would like always to start by laying down the philosophy. Before you talk about issues of the president, issues of Uganda, issues of the disease and all those kind of things, it's very important to know or to lay down the philosophy. Uganda is a country in captivity. Uganda was captured by a group of people who sought to take it and use it as a platform to realize personal interest. That right there is the philosophy. When you start from there, you can explain everything. When you see the president on screen,
yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Once you see the president of Uganda coming on the screen to speak about COVID and all those other things, he's there to protect private interest. When he comes and says the issue of this COVID, is the Ugandans who are doing wrong, it is ABC, he's deflecting attention. He's deflecting responsibility. This man in realization or in pursuit of his personal interest, has woefully failed at public management. We don't know whether he has failed because he intends to fail, or he has failed because he is super consumed by pursuit of his private interest. When this COVID came, he copied what other countries were doing. And this is the problem we have, not only in Uganda, but in Africa. We are copycats. We copy what others are doing without even observing and considering whether what we have copied is appropriate to our environment. In Europe and in other countries, they have posited that there are two ways through which you can manage COVID. The first one is to control the spread of the virus, physical control, so that the virus not spread. And what they did was to put in place measures to limit mobility of people so that they contain the virus. Now, the second measure is clinical management. You only manage because there's no treatment. So you have clinical management. Those are the two approaches. Are these the right ones for Africa? Let us start with controlling the virus. You cannot bring physical control in an African setting. Why? Because most of the countries in Africa are developing countries, what some people call less developed countries. In a less developed setting, people do not have means of survival, adequate means of survival. So in order to survive, they depend on each other. That is why in critical socio-political thinking, we say that less developed countries are the most advanced socially, because we have a string of social network that enables us to survive even in the case of economic paucity. The social networks keeps us going. Now, if you are going to come and say you are going to disrupt this social network, then we shall die. Now, if you say to control COVID, you have to limit mobility, thereby affecting our social connections, are you saying you don't want us to die of the disease, but you want us to die of economic causes? Because if we don't have that social connection, we die.
That's
what
true.
I mean? So, in order to control COVID in Africa, we had to come up with a measure that takes into consideration the fact that we are densely socially connected. Uganda failed. We just wholesomely adapted. And then our countries, because they are not democratically responsive, I can explain that. In a democracy, you don't just come and introduce something. No, you get responses, feedback from the people. So your policies are responsive to people's
and interactive needs. Yes.
But in a less democratic setting, you don't need feedback. You just go
down floor. Yes.
Exactly.
Down floor management. Yes.
Exactly. That's why you saw LD use clobbering people, because this is a martial environment. You just clobber. These are things, they are not people who you are supposed to listen to. No, they are things they must do what you want them to do. So I don't want us to lose track. We have failed in that way. We are ruled by a president who calls himself an intellectual, but actually he does not understand things. And irrespective of the fact that Uganda has very educated and very capable managers, This president does not want them to help him in management of that society because he distrusts them. He thinks that when they do so, they will grab his political power. They will steal his political thunder. And they will obliterate him or shadow him, which he doesn't want.
So
when
he
he
uses
comes,
micromanagement system.
exactly. So when he comes, he says, it's not my problem. In all things he says, it is your problem, not mine.
With
You
him, he plays safe.
Yes, you failed at SOPs. I didn't fail. My friend, you failed because you copied a model of control which is inappropriate to our conditions. Secondly, you failed to put in place medical capability, clinical capability to control the effects, the clinical effects of the virus. We have
Mr. Martin, on that very note, because according to research, most people that are dying are the elites, the middle class are the ones that are dying. Can you really, look into that, to relate it to our, like the economic and social impact it is going to create? Because if you look at the social class is being swept out by COVID. How do you relate it to the socio-economic impact?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. Africa is the oldest civilization in the world. Africans have got their solutions to every problem that comes in the world. Africans have got their solutions. Those solutions are local. Those solutions are grounded within the social cultural environment of Africans. What the function of education does to an African elite is to transplant that person from their social cultural base and put them in the environment where they are even hanging. They are not based in
they are baseless. Yes, that's true.
Most of people think they are white men, or they are, I don't know. Yet
that's why they call them white collar.
They don't even know what the social culture of the white men is. They don't understand. People are there steaming themselves with things they are doing. Everything is local. 99.9% of our people are applying local mechanisms, local solutions to survive. These ones, once they get little fever, they run to the hospital. Is oxygen going to treat you? They even don't know what the function of that oxygen is.
On that very note, Mr. Martin, when the president was talking in his address on the national prayer, he said that Ugandans have so much believed in localism and colloquialism. That is, you remember the other time when he was addressing, he said Ugandans should look beyond their tribes, their religions, and look at Uganda in terms of Africa and East Africa as a whole. Do you descend to that kind of view, or do you agree to the view that Ugandans need to be more universal than being pseudo kind of thinking?
First of all, that argument is obscurantist. It is obscurantist in the case that it tends to hide the truth. I don't know why Mr. Museveni was teaching that, because he himself, as a student of African politics and social sciences, he knows that there can be no genuine people in a larger entity. Those existing in a larger entity, they can never be genuine unless they are grounded in their original tradition and root traditions. So you were at one time belittling local roots. Then on the other hand, you're saying people should integrate. Does integration mean you come from nowhere? The best way to integrate is to know where you come from.
Exactly. Because you integrate, bringing a certain diversity within. Exactly.
So use that diversity. Now you're
That's
calling people to integrate, and at the same time you are telling them obliterate your roots. Are you being candid, or you are being obscurantist, and you are hiding something else which is beneficial to you? Because it is now clear, it is no longer a secret, that Mr. Museveni has opened a war against a certain people in Uganda. And he wants to transplant those people from their origins and make them get lost in a larger diaspora.
That's true.
So it is his interest to make sure that these people have no roots. That's not right. The best way to integrate in a diaspora is to know your roots.
Let me bring in Desire. Desire, you have heard Mr. Byakuleka trying to, make it clear that there is no way you can integrate a disorganized or a baseless society. I want to bring you, Desire, in here concerning about the measures that the president is bragging about. And he says that those people that think that the herbal or the local medicine are going to help the people of Uganda to get out of COVID are just daydreaming. And he said that all the necessary support in terms of the medical are available, that people should come in and take the medicine instead of using herbal medicine. I want you to, clarify on this, as Mr. Byakuleka says that the President Museveni is trying to erase the traditional dimension of Uganda so that you can go to the total universality, which doesn't make sense without having the roots.
In regards to that aspect, I would like to just add on to what Mr. Byakuleka said. Like African peoples, we hold one of the oldest civilizations, and that is in so many ways, in infrastructure, in medical, in the way how we used to trade, in the way how we used to even govern each other. In Buganda, when Buganda was still a nation, we're on record as one of the first nations to actually carry out a C-section. So that tells you a little bit about medically where we were at, and what actually led to the transgression of our medical evolution. It was within contact with the Europeans. Contact with the Europeans, because that brought in new diseases, that brought in a whole lot of other factors, and that then deteriorated our evolution, because then when they came, they also went for domination and for imposing of a culture. So we're seeing that happen all over again, where there is an imposing of a culture. So I would not advise anyone to get away from their local ways of helping themselves, or because those have existed over time. What I would like to make very clear is that everything that we have now comes from the past 600 years of world domination by the Europeans. Everything that Museveni is banking on. But everything that we get from our local communities, that has existed over 1,000 years. And 1,000 years more behind. So it comes as no surprise that someone who wishes to erase is actually subscribing to a universalism. That is the same system that was used to colonize African peoples, and that was yet again the same system that was used to exploit and take African peoples from the continent. So there is a system that he's using to dominate and erase culture and belonging for Ugandans who come from different nations that existed.
That's very true. That's very true, Desire. As we shift from that kind of topic, as there is a related analysis that we want to make regarding the Prime Minister saying that she's giving out money to the low earners. I would like to start with you, Desire, and try to, cut across this kind of phenomenon where the Prime Minister is saying that they have the best strategies to, give out money to the low-income earners. And I'm asking my question that, is there any way or a litmus approach to the low-income earners in Uganda? Do we have that mechanism to identify those people that are low earners? as it is done in other countries?
Everything that the acting government is coming up with in Uganda are bandage solutions. We can assume, if we were to assume in a simulation that, okay, they're going to be able to identify some low-income earners, but everything that's being done is a bandage solution that actually has no strategy backing it up behind. Like as you've pointed out, first of all is, how are you identifying low-income earners? Second of all is, how much money are you supplementing low-income earners? Third, is there a strategy to make sure that actually these low-income earners, we've had so many things said in our budgets years after years about how every Ugandan is going to be earning 1 million in a certain year. And those things have all not come to become fruits and to be taken in by the people. So everything that is said is almost said for a show and for a facade, because there's something behind it. Everything that is said to put there a picture, but nothing is being done behind. But also behind that, there's something that's being done to distract, to destroy, and to take away the voices and to take away what is actually happening to people, which is the exploitation of their labor, because people's labors has been exploited in the same system that we're speaking about. And then after that, also we have high unemployment rates. With everything that's happening now, is how are you going to create jobs? And you can't create jobs if the only jobs that are given attention to and attended to are jobs in government. So all other fields are failing because they're not seen as fields that jobs need to be created to, because of the government system that we have. So that is a bandage solution, which they know is going to get nowhere, and they're not even going to go out and carry out. So it is a facade to hide what is really being done behind the screens. And it's just the bandage solution for the pressure that is being exerted on them as a ruling body, but not a solution or even something that we're going to see happen going forward.
Thank you, Desire. Thank you, Desire. That is a political facade for sure that they are trying to bring out in order to, impress the public that they are doing something good. I have Madame Elizabeth joining us as well to analyze some of the issues. Madame Elizabeth, hope you're doing well today or this week.
Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for being with us. Possibly you had some technical problem, and now I'm happy that I see you right in our studios. I would start again on the issue of the president was very, very categorical when he said that Ugandans are very, very adamant when it comes to, following what the SOPs are and how they respond to a certain catastrophe in a very joker way. So he said that he is not surprised that the COVID is turning all that violent onto the people, because people were told and they did not heed to all those, to all those kind of announcement by the president. I want you to start from there as we go across. What's your take about the president's idea about?
Well, President Museveni, unfortunately, takes everything as a joke. Like, even originally, if not a joke, he politicizes it. Because when you look at the first time we had a lockdown, he again released a whole force of SFC, UPDF, on the streets of Uganda, and then the beating started. Instead of investing money in sensitizing people, informing them of how it is important to keep safe and how to prevent the virus from spreading, they were not doing that. It actually became very ceremonial in a sense that he was holding meetings so often, and none of those ceremonial State of the Union address that he was making to or giving people updates involved sensitizing. I heard there was a lot of money that was put out for advertising campaigns. and all that money was stolen. So the layperson, I mean, if they couldn't do it through posters, you would have thought that they should have used the radios, local radios. They could have sent messages on those who have, you know, who use mobile networks. None of that happened. And places like markets were left open. The Chikubo was swarming with people. It just didn't make sense because those areas were left open, obviously, because, you know, the people needed to buy food to eat. So when he says, the first time for me, I thought it wasn't the fact that the situation was handled appropriately. It was because of the fact that Corona had not arrived. Now that it has arrived and found them unprepared because most of the people were not sensitized. In fact, people thought Corona was not even there, that it was a lie. It was something they had decided to use to keep people away from campaigns, the election campaigns that were happening during that period. And once the the campaigns ended, people were free to move around. Even though the curfew stayed, which was supposed to be related to SOPs, everything else went back to normal. Now, I cannot see how he can say that he gave out advice, but Ugandans never heeded to it. I don't think it's true. I mean, he didn't just do a good job, even though he was praised to have handled it well originally. For me, I truly believe that Corona had not arrived, but it has finally arrived.
Yeah, because, you know, the impunity that is really grounded within Ugandan officials, I think, is bringing another problem. And here we hear the Prime Minister saying that she'll be giving out money to low income earners. But do you think that strategy can work in Uganda?
It actually surprised me that they could do that. I mean, who are the low income earners?
I mean, I can't even know what procedure they use to get those low income earners. I don't think they have any way they can identify them.
They say that they're going to look at mobile money transactions. And if you have never made a transaction totaling up to 200,000 shillings, then you qualify. So what about people without mobiles?
How about those even that receive money, for example, for the children's school fees, and you think they're also very able? I mean, because they have received that money, it's very unlogical. It's
indeed very unlogical. I don't know how they're even going to do it. I do not know. The population is quite big. The fact that there is no food reserves in the country to feed Ugandans, how can they even have those funds available to provide to at least 20 million Ugandans? And it's not even a lot of money. What is 20,000? Is it 20,000, 200,000 each?
Some say 100,000. It's not yet. And actually, what I've been hearing from the corridors is that the Prime Minister preempted the program because the program had to go through the cabinet. So she was speaking things that had not yet been approved by the cabinet. And so many of the NRM people were, you know, sidelining the idea. And actually, that makes it very impossible. Let me bring in Mr. Byakureka about this issue as we go for the break. Mr. Byakureka, here is a situation that we don't have a litmus of the low earners in Uganda. The category, I mean, the criteria, the scientific category, I mean, approach to this is very, very, very irrational. And I think there is need to. What is your take on Prime Minister taking people for granted that will be giving them money, and yet they have not even taken it to the cabinet to pass it?
Okay, there are two issues here again. The first issue, as I told you in my initial discussion, was that we must understand the theory always. So if you have a country that has been captured, by a group of people for their personal interest, what follows is that when these people are recruiting persons to work in their government, they don't care about competence. What they care about is how subservient. Yes, how subservient are you a zealot of mind? Do you believe in what I say? And can you just regurgitate and disseminate without question? That is what they want. So when you look at the kind of people they appoint, they are the kind of people that, first of all, cannot debate with them. Okay? Because here there must be no arguments, no debate. So you must be of such a caliber that you cannot answer back or you cannot question. That is why you have ended up with fishermen like the prime minister, the new prime minister now, market people. Now, if you bring market people and the fishermen to address a very serious concern like the crisis we have at the moment, they cannot even mentally grasp what we are dealing with. They don't know, they cannot evaluate, they cannot comprehend the extent of the problem. They don't know the nitty-gritties of this issue and what policy can be made to mitigate. All they bring are fire brigade approaches. And the whole thing emanates from Mr. Museveni because of capturing the state for private interest. So he has what we call whims. You cannot manage Uganda on whims, personal whims. But he sits there and throws around ideas as if he's throwing around for his family. It is okay to manage Rwakitura on whims, but you cannot manage the country on whims. This is a country. This entity is bigger. This entity has so many facets. It's complicated. You cannot just manage it like that. So, as usual, they, because they are mediocre, they have the right idea, but they definitely have no execution. Their executions are wrong. Their executions are dreamt up. They can't work. Now, if you say we want to give assistance to low-income earners, good idea, good idea. Show me your execution. Zero. Hodgepodge. You see, best way is to check the phone and see who has received this kind of money, who has ever received this kind of money. That one is okay. Oh, sure. We are helping people to pay school fees, as someone said. So I send my sister money to educate her daughters in a good school so that these daughters can be useful to her. Now, because she receives this money to take my nieces to school, so she's very rich. What science do you have to know who is low income? The low income earner? And we have always told them, we said, listen, we are in the opposition. We are not noisemakers. We also know what to do. If we were in those positions, we would do a lot better. They have no science. Right now, here, I will give you a few steps of finding out who is low income. Look at that environment and tell me what is its socio-economic behavior. We have a economic dependency system where there are some people who work and the majority depend on them. Now, those who work, this is how it is in our society. We have those who work and others who depend on them. Like you.
And they are the majority.
Yes, you're in the diaspora and there are people depending on you back home. Now, inside Uganda, in the domestic constituents, as I call it, we have people who work in government. Those who work in government are actually the major sources of livelihood for the rest of our people. This is why we are having a problem, for example, and this is a side discussion of dealing with corruption. Because in Uganda, corruption is an advantage to almost half the population. When your relative is stealing, it is a good idea because you're going to earn. Now, let me leave that discussion right there. But you want to determine who has money, who doesn't have money. Look at the people who are working in government, civil service, MPs, all those people, RDCs, whatever, those who earn from government. Now, those are okay because they support other people. Now, use the same measure, go out of government. Say, let me look at the traders. Most of the traders are not well off. But I can give you a parameter and say, any trader who employs 2 people and less is okay. Anyone who employs 2 people and more, is okay. Because
Martin, let's have this video to support your evidence as you just within 1-2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you employ 2 people and more and you're a trader, you are rich. You're not rich, you are well off because you can support another family. You are fine. Now, anybody outside those classes, anyone outside those classes is a low income earner. And that formula, I've made it here as we speak. If I am also paid, find it because nobody pays me. They don't pay me, they fear me. If they paid me, you can't refine it for them. I can bring it, but they don't want to.
Yes, Martin, let's have this video before you wind up your point. Let's have this video from the producer, and then we can go ahead and make this analysis.
Maduka gagenda kugulawo okuddako agatunda ebyokulya so bw'omanya nti oli kutunda byakulya dda waka. Bannayuganda muyina emputu mwagala kusooka kunyoolagana n'abasirikale twabagambye dda musibewo mugweyo naye temuyiira. Maduka gagenda kugulawo okuddako agatunda ebyokulya so bw'omanya nti oli kutunda byakulya dda waka mudde waka muva ku street era kati tugenda kutandika okukwata abataagala kuwulira. Kale kyawo ebintu byogende kyawo maduka
Yeah, I think, Martin, you've seen how these people are being harassed, and yet they don't have anything that they're telling them to go home, and they don't have anything to have at their homes, and that's why they're having all this resistance. Go ahead with your point. as you wind up.
Very pathetic. It's very, very pathetic. Now, this government, beside the point that it captured the state for personal interest, even when it undertakes an exercise to pretend that it is working for the public, not the personal, even then it fails. Even then it fails. Once it tries to work for the public, it really exhibits its incompetence. It exhibits that it is mediocre and inept. There are so many Ugandans in that country who have very, very good brains, who are very competent. So many Ugandans I know inside there who can come up with workable formulas within 24 hours for any program. But all those people are discarded or they are disregarded. And moreover, the best thing for professionals in Uganda now is to shut up. You have to read what your boss wants, try and to shut up. Because when you shut up, you eat in peace. Now, this idea of eating in peace is what has killed the country completely.
Thank you. As for now, let's have a short break as people try, to drink something as they wait for the another session of our episode. Please don't go away. We are still live on UNN Radio. We are also live on all our streaming channels like Facebook, Chimbogwe Live, UNN TV Official, as well as on the YouTube. Share our videos so that everybody can know what is really going on in our country. And don't forget that the last part of our show will need your calling in or sending your voice in order to, participate in this discussion as we develop or other stories develop. Thank you very much. Don't go away as we go for a break.
Time takes a toll on everyone, they say. Time is merciless, it won't wait for us to change. Time, I am stressing out, I can't figure out what to say. Oh, time, just give us time. Time, looking back on pictures, and I find it hard to see you and myself in places where we used.
Yes, once again, you're welcome to the tower, the second part of our episode as we diagnose a lot of issues that have been trending in Uganda today and this week. We are live on our radio, UNN Radio, as well as other channels. And please keep sharing our videos as we try to analyze some of these issues. Yes, as we come back, we are again, trying to look at the second part and the last part of our show as we discuss some issues. Madam Elizabeth, here comes a situation when we are looking at the election of the Buganda caucus, which was really characterized by a lot of issues that were quite very dramatic, where we saw the NRM members of parliament went out of the election and did not take positions within the caucus. I would start with Madam Elizabeth. Do you think there is anything that we can benefit from the Buganda caucus when it comes to to Buganda problems?
Of course not. I mean, this has been an ongoing problem that Museveni allows all these things, everything is politicized, like I said earlier. But most importantly, the Buganda caucus is something that Museveni has put forward to hoodwink Baganda, to make them think that he's doing everything to preserve the culture itself, because he's aware that this is quite important to all of us. So if I can take you back to what is happening in the Buganda parliament itself, for some strange reasons, it's not even strange. It is believed that Museveni is masterminding what is going on there. He has placed the current Katikkiro, in the position where he is, and he seems to have run down everything, including like mismanaging the whole institution, rendering our king hopeless or helpless. So for me, if they have not managed to look at the way the kingdom itself has been run down, the fact that recently we had Kabaka came out to celebrate his birthday and he looked quite unwell. And since then, we have not bothered, or maybe we have, but what can we do? We have been rendered helpless. We don't know what's happening. We don't know whether he's alive. So for me, Mr. Katelega, I haven't even paid any attention to the caucus itself, because in Uganda, nothing really makes sense. All these things are masterminded by the president himself, and it doesn't really mean a thing. They have never been able to represent the Baganda. So why is it there in the first place? I don't know how it's supposed to benefit the people who live in the region or the Baganda people themselves.
Okay. Bring in Desire. Desire, being an analyst and always very, very, very analytical when it comes to issues of Buganda. Desire, would you please dive into this? And because I saw Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi of Butamba, actually is my MP, he was busy, pledging that he would do the best to make sure that Buganda issues are solved and not to be taken for granted, because it's now a stronger force to reckon with. Given the fact that now the Buganda caucus executive is very much with people from the opposition, do we expect anything that you think can really benefit the people of Buganda?
I think one thing that's very important as we speak about this is not to forget that the junta came a few weeks ago and talked about Milo land. That was one thing that is within this system. We're always warned, but we never pay attention because we've been made to be. We've been kind of conditioned by this system for 35 years. We've been conditioned to just take in all the incompetence as a norm. It's always normalized first and then executed. So this brings me back to what's happening with the Buganda caucus. It's first, we need to look at all past events that are coming up until now. So why don't we hear from the Katikiro anymore? Especially, we had a lot of questions about the Kabaka and what was happening to him and how sick he was when he came out for his birthday. Why hasn't the Katikiro given us any further details? And why has the Katikiro, ever since he had that very, very, what was it, that press conference whereby he just was not serving the people, in his words, and very, what's the word in English? He boosted almost at the situation at hand. All those events are leading up to another event. Then after there, we leave that event with the Kabaka and everything. Then we come to also another event whereby the junta is talking about Milo land and how it's not fair for everyone, that only Buganda has it. Now we're at another event where it's the Buganda caucus. So the atmosphere has already been created that Buganda needs to rise up and needs support. But then the irony is that when that environment has been created, who are going to be your saviors and the people who have been prepped to be the saviors of this scenario and situation are all people who are micromanaged and work under the junta. So it is not surprising that a lot of confusion is going on. And it's not surprising that even at an incident like this, where we're talking about Buganda Nation, which is for the Baganda people, it is still so politicized that it's working like as if it's coming out of parliament. And we're talking about a nation, a Buganda nation. We're not talking about Uganda. We're talking about Buganda. But it's working on the same matrix as if it was something in parliament. And the people who are going to save the day and help it all become better, because it's been alarmed that it needs to get better with the prerequisites that have been set. But the people who are going to do it are always the people who are actually going to go ahead and then execute everything that we're always prepared for the worst. And then we're conditioned that mediocrity is the only thing we can get out of our system back home. So it is not surprising, the chaos that is happening now. And it's very worrying. And we should not always forget what is in the background, what is being done to lead up to situations that we're in now. Because everything that has happened so far leads us back to the situation that we're in now, since 2016 up until now.
Thank you so much, Desire. Thank you very much. Let me bring in Mr. Byakuleka. Here is a situation that we are talking about the opposition. And actually, to my own understanding, we cannot have the two working together. We cannot have a dictatorial government having an opposition. It's rather a kind of associates that are working in order to make the dictatorial government legitimate. According to what we have realized, the opposition, I would say the National Unity Platform, because it has the majority of the opposition, they have gone ahead to, bring out an alternative cabinet, which they think will be running. And I saw a list that was actually endless. And I was wondering, how is this going to help the local, the person on the ground that went within a lot of, intimidation and all that to, go and vote. And now they were expecting something good. We saw the leader of opposition having a lot of, things surrounding him, a lot of big budget, good cars, security. And here comes the cabinet as well. Do you think Uganda, the way it is with the least Democrats that we have, can we refer to that an opposition? And two, if that is an opposition, as they say, possibly to me it is a matter of semantic. And do you think the executive that they have put across is going to help the people of Uganda, the cabinet?
Yeah, we always have to understand the primary parameters here. The state is under siege. The country was captured.
Yeah.
That whole environment is not independent. So the things that are taking place in there take place at the pleasure of the people who captured that environment. If they say we are going to have elections, they will take place in accordance to their whims. You cannot come and establish an independent way of doing things in that environment, starting from elections. They will engineer their own things in order to sustain a system which perpetuates their personal interest. So if you have a parliament in that environment, that is also a captive parliament. It is going to act in accordance with the whims of the man who captured the system. That is why some of us, when we were talking about Kadaga, some people did not understand where we were coming from. You see, you cannot do anything without understanding the underlying political philosophies. One of the institutions that helps Museveni maintain power in that environment which he captured is the parliament. Because it is through that parliament that he endorses and legalizes his illegalities.
That's true.
It is that parliament which dresses his naked dictatorship. It is that parliament that enshrines and gives credibility
and constitutionalize. Yes.
And constitutionalizes his dictatorial pursuits. Now, he cannot therefore allow that parliament to go away. That is why, when at one time that parliament attempted to be independent, he sent in the army to crush it. That is why some of us were saying, let us capture this parliament from him and see what happens. Then we wanted to take advantage of a fissure, because there was a fissure in the relations in NRM. Kadaga was quarreling with some people. Yeah. And Kadaga had one side of Kadaga is pro-people. So we wanted to steal her from there. And give her an external legitimacy from the people. That which is not from the capturer, but from the people. And make her a speaker whose background is with the people. But people didn't.
Yes.
And part of the reason why we were let down is because in the NRM itself, there are no progressive and independent thinking MPs. If they had been there, because you can be in the NRM and eat and all that, and know that I can't make a mistake here because this is where my bread is. But are you also happy with what is going on? You may be, but you're not happy. So we wanted to capture those people who are eating but are not happy, and bring them and put them with the people's representatives and see if we can make a coup. But Museveni brought UPE. When he brought UPE, he disorganized the brains and thinking capacities of many people in Uganda. For as long as this UPE has been in Uganda, critical thinking among many Ugandans has disappeared. When you attempt to execute some complicated moves like those, you will even be killed by the people you are working for, because critical thinking has disappeared. Now, I just wanted to say one thing about Buganda, the Buganda question, because that's what you are discussing right now.
Yes.
It is therefore fallacious to say that you have a Buganda caucus in parliament. Who are you working for? Do you know what parliament is? Parliament is an institution which is an extension of Museveni. Now, do you think you're going to come to parliament and work for Uganda's interest when Uganda and Museveni are discordant at the moment?
No chance.
Right now, Uganda and Museveni are discordant. Museveni has clearly shown to everybody that he is against Uganda. Now, you as a going to do in a parliament which is an extension of Museveni? First of all, we must understand what are Uganda's interests, because we don't want to speak from the air. What are Uganda's interests? I can give you 5 right now.
Yes.
One is territorial integrity. Now, how can you as a caucus ensure territorial integrity?
When Kampala itself is pulled out of Uganda.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Against it. He has brought a mercenary in his government. There's a man there, a mercenary, who came to kill Mairo land and all those other land-related issues. That's a mercenary, right? So he wants to obliterate territorial integrity. Number 2, cultural credibility. No. The man has come out to start killing your language. He says your language is useless. Wankachi. This came from the north.
Trying to relate it with Luo. As if Uganda cannot originate a language, a word.
Exactly. So he's telling you, Baganda are culturally bankrupt. Which is a fallacy. Self-governance vis-a-vis national governance. Have you realized these days that the Katikiro is absent without official leave?
That's true.
Where's the man? We are having issues. We are under attack. Where's he? He has disappeared because he works for Museveni. And Museveni, because we don't want to say he works for Museveni without evidence. We are scientifically saying he's working with Museveni because this is the time when Museveni has opened an onslaught on Uganda, threatening its territorial integrity, threatening its cultural integrity, and you are not talking? This is when the category should be
Mr. Martin, let's have a video as you continue with the 3rd one and the 4th one. Let's have a video that will be elaborating on the issue of Uganda, and as you continue. The producer is going to give us a video that will really substantiate what Mr. Byakuleka is saying, and then we shall be able to.
If you go to the palace of Mutebi here, there's something called Wankachi. Wankachi. The Baganda say Wankachi. They talk about it. Where did Wankachi come from? They don't know. But we restored you so that you discover all these linkages. Instead of that, they are just busy with the parochialism, localism. Wankachi is a Luo word. Wankachi is a Luo word. Omubara, Lubala is a Luo word. Do you have any real rules here, or they have also disappeared? Lubala, it is a Luo word, meaning anthem. So, the linkages of Uganda, I know them. That's why I restored these kingdoms. Because I wanted them to, I didn't see them as necessarily a danger if they were properly used. But now these opportunities are there, just there, looking localism.
I think it's very evident that the president was, talking about people that really advocate for the cultural deepness and the traditional. That's why he even referred to them as idiots, because, it's very interesting. Can you go ahead with the 3rd one?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the producer for that excellent work. Yes, number 4, the preservation of institution of the Kabaka. It is the interest of Uganda to preserve the institution of Kabaka. Actually, my mother has always taught me. You see, I'm a Muchiga, for those who don't know, by the way.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm a very powerful Muchiga. I'm a Musiji, but I don't speak more than 20 words. Owned by a Muganda woman called Namato, Masakabudu.
Oh yeah,
And
that's why you're so deep in Uganda culture. You know the Wanabudu are very good at. Go ahead.
Exactly. So I am thorough with everything Uganda. The only thing I lack is a Muziro. That is all. So I have been taught by my people that the most important function of a Muganda is to preserve Kabaka. That is, I don't know if anybody can dispute that.
No.
So if a man can come and say the palace of Mutebi, do you know how I feel about that?
You know, for sure. And actually, the way it was so despising to call him Mutebi, you know.
Listen, my man. First of all, let us forget the fact that I was a protocol officer who likes protocol. The palace of this Mutebi. So the king has become Mutebi.
And
Really?
the diction is and his diction is very, very it is intended. It's not by mistake. It is selected.
I was thinking that the next day there's going to be fire in Kampala streets and in Uganda. I didn't see it. Why? UPE and intimidation.
That's true.
Number 5, the interest of Uganda is economic progress of its people, or her people. Now, how do you work for this? When Uganda have been systematically dispossessed, thousands of them have been sent to Saudi Arabia. We are here. Thousands of us, we are in the diaspora. We are here. We are here. See? So, those who stayed, they were arrested by drones and thrown in jail. Uganda is under threat. Now you are in a parliament working for a man who has become Uganda's enemy number 1. And you're saying you're going to form a Uganda caucus there to work for Uganda's interest. And you are telling me that the majority of those people are going to come from NRM party. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How are you going to work for Uganda's interest? Zekankomao, I will stop there.
Yes, on that very note, Mr. Byakureka, as your time has gone, I think you would say goodbye to our viewers as we look forward to having you the next time, and it has been a pleasure. You can have a word, the last 2 minutes, your last words to the viewers.
Yes, guys, it's been a pleasure. This is my first visit. It's been a pleasure. I also intend to visit the other area where people speak the other language, our local.
That's true.
I will be liaising with the comrade who works there, and I will come there. But I thank UNN because through media, media is the best tool for organizing our people so that they can eventually get rid of those who captured their state. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Byakureka Richard Martin, for your time. And actually, we appreciate that. I hope we shall have you on another show as we try to, galvanize all the corporate and elite and the technocrats that can help us to develop our country. The show is still going on with Desire and Madame Elizabeth. Madame Elizabeth, here we come at a situation whereby Uganda seems to be at a crossroad, as we've mentioned, because the opposition, as I said, to me, it's not an opposition because it is very ironical to say opposition in a non-democratic government, because opposition goes with a democratic government where they have a democratic parliament, and the role of the opposition is to help, bring about alternative policies that can run the country. Here, situation that we have as the leader of opposition is bringing out shadow government that will help, handle the policies. Do you think this system is going to work, given the fact that it's too much? The opposition is the minority, and Do they have really the mandate? Will they be able to do something that can help the people of Uganda? Or it's another burden that the taxpayers' money is going to cater for?
For anybody to think that there is going to be an opposition in parliament, because there hasn't been any in the last 35 years. Yeah, so I wonder what could have changed for anybody who has just sworn in to join this government. I don't know how they believe that there's going to be any changes comparing to what has been going on. How are they going to influence what has been happening for the last 5 years? I just do not know, you know. Mr. Katalika.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, for me, I don't think there's going to be any changes. Given the fact that once anyone enters the parliament or swears in to become a member of parliament, the majority of time they're going to be swayed with all this money that is given to them, the expensive cars, the salaries, and the benefits that come with being an MP. And all of a sudden, that influence is there from the junta, who has masqueraded around as a king of an empire. You know, he behaves in the manner that, you know, he needs these numbers. Obviously, he has the majority in parliament. So the opposition is left to hang on, because it depends on who makes the decision. Okay, President Museveni will want to pass something through. If it's money, you know, he gets the majority to back him up. And that leaves the opposition with no say whatsoever. Oh, it doesn't matter what they say anyway. He always has a way of doing what he has done over the years to to masquerade around and just do whatever he wants, with the rest of us basically just looking on.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Elizabeth. Desire, I want you to chip in on this regard concerning about the shadow government. The shadow government seems to be a replica of what really happens in the whole Uganda, because here is a situation that somebody claims to be having power or position when they don't have power. And this is what is killing Uganda. When you see people thinking that with being a leader of opposition is going to do something very, very paramount to the development of the people of Uganda, it's very, very sickening. In this regard, do you think the opposition and its cabinet will be able to make any impact, or the policies will just come and pass without being challenged?
In regards to that issue, what I've seen build up and where the problem is the day as a nation, knowingly or unknowingly, decided to play politics with the junta. The junta created a political template that will always benefit the junta. It's been 35 years, and we still cannot pinpoint an opposition. 35 years. We still cannot say this one person in parliament in Uganda is going to stand for the people and is really opposition. That tells you a lot, not about only the people, but about what system is functioning to create this. We're playing politics with someone who is dictating what the rules of the political game is. So the junta creates this atmosphere and environment, and we get way too excited about words like opposition. When has opposition ever mattered in Uganda? Apart from, of course, the only time we see opposition is when tear gas cans come out. And who is the person who's harmed the most? Because from the last I can remember, Bobby Wine and Besigye are still at home alive. But the people who support opposition are the most harmed people in this environment. So the only opposition that we have actually seen to this government is the people, but they are not in the parliamentary structure. They are not in that organization. They are not in that political template. And the only time they are allowed to participate is at the ballot box, and during those campaigns where harm is brought to their body, and at the ballot box where they might die, and they put their life there. But we all know the election is rigged. So in general, we're playing politics that has a political game that the junta has written down notes for, to make sure that we always remain in that and we never think outside. Now, I don't know why we would even try and guarantee a discussion on opposition when we have all come to a discovery that it's not even a discovery, it's right there in front of us. 35 years, and you can't say this is the opposition.
Yes, Desire, I like the word that you used, the political template. I mean, the president has made a political template which everybody has to fit his minds. And actually, that is a very, 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 really very saddening situation. Again, when Madam Elizabeth, when you look at another situation, that the economy itself seems to be at standstill, because if you have people that have been working, and those are the very people that have been keeping themselves surviving, or with a group of people that they have at home that survive. And you see in the video being pushed home. And actually yesterday I saw a video, was it 2 days ago? I saw a video of a gentleman that was having some disability being pushed. I mean, the police beating him up, and he was trying to establish himself that he cannot have a way to survive and feed his people because he doesn't have anything at home. How do you relate this situation to the mental dimension of the people of Uganda? Because when you look at what is happening, it is two ways. There is the mental and the economic side. And apart from not having something to feed their people, some men are now resenting their families because they don't have a way they can sit at home and their children are dying of hunger. How can you, digest into this?
Well, I can only say that if at all the government had made arrangements, because we knew this was coming, I mean, we should have predicted that this was coming, given the way that even some countries had the first wave, the second wave, and then the third. The countries are actually going under this third wave. I don't know how Uganda thought that because they had survived so well during the first lockdown, that this favor of fate was going to carry on. So for me, I can't understand how this man could just suggest a lockdown without putting any consideration towards people who earn hand to mouth to feed their families. So I have seen the video you're talking about, but the police officers themselves are on the road. They've created roadblocks and they're taking money from people, and that is how they're surviving, because I understand that they had not been paid for a long time. So this is why I cannot relate to the harshness, the beatings. I mean, are people supposed to be in their villages locked inside their homes because of COVID? How are they going to feed? It for me, it just beats my understanding how the whole issue is being handled. But in a way, I have looked at it. There's somebody that's written a good article about it, and I really enjoyed it, given the fact that I was thinking that the COVID could be what the doctor ordered for. In this sense, it could be Uganda, what Uganda ordered for or has been praying for. Because there is a prediction that most of the top dogs may be wiped out. these men in government may be wiped out by corona, and then thereby creating a new wave of politicians taking power. I don't know whether Museveni has even considered that. I mean, when you go back to the Ethiopian, when there was a famine in Ethiopia, it wiped out the economy, it wiped out almost everything and politicians, and they had to go back to the drawing board. Maybe this is what needs to happen to Uganda to give us a reality check. And maybe after this, we may have people who can think on their feet and plan for the future of fellow Ugandans, but not just their pockets.
That's interesting. That's as we go ahead, let's have a video that will try to elaborate on some of the issues from the producer. But before we get the video, our viewers, we in the next 5-10 minutes, we'll be having your questions and discussion. Please feel free to send your voice to our number that is gonna be flowing over on the screen so that we can be able to chat together as we go on. The producer, give us the video as we try to diagnose as well as what is going on.
Abasirikale batandika ate batyo okukwata abatembeeyi abamasiti ffe tuwonya abantu batusibidde waka tetulina kyakulya.
Nga kyetuzudde nti abatembeeyi n'abo abatundira ku nguudo babadde tebagoberera biragiro bino, era nga abasukka mu 200 be bakwatiddwa olunaku olwaleero ng'essaawa zino bali wano ku Constitutional Square, era nga kyetugenda okuzzaako kyekyokugyamu abo abakwatiddwa nga si batembeeyi. Abo abatembeeyi be tujja osigaza wano twogere nabo tubasomese lwaki tebalina kukola kuba kiragiro kyaweebwa era balina okuba nga bakigoberera.
So I think you see the situation that we are having, and actually the police themselves have not heed exactly to what they were told to do. They are doing their own stuff, and the government does not come in to, look into these issues. Desire, as we wind up, before Desire comes in, I think everybody is ready to, to send messages, and the next 30-20 minutes will be ready for your messages or your calling in, and then we can be able to, continue with the discussion as we go on. Desire, finally, as we look at the government's effort to, try to help the people of Uganda, as they claim, it seems like there is no appropriate methodologies and approaches that have been put across like it has done it before. Remember, they were saying that even last time in the last lockdown, they were saying that they would be helping people with food and other stuff, but they didn't. What is your surgical analysis of what the Prime Minister says is going to do in relation to people that they think are low earners?
One thing that we ought not to forget about this government that we have, this government came into power and stayed into power and refuses to leave power because it benefits economically. That's one of the main reasons. Making millions and millions of money and exploiting and being corrupt and having money, so much money that you can barely count, helps everyone. People go to parliament just to get 300 millions. People actually will fight, will call lines, will work for 10 years just to enter parliament because they're going to get paid. We cannot forget that foundational basis before we talk about how this parliament then is going to help low-income earners. Who has created the low-income earners? Again, we point to the same government. Then how are they going to solve the problem when they are so busy looting and exploiting? First of all, the labor is exploited, and then the resources are looted, only to benefit them. So anything they say or anything they do, we cannot forget that foundational basis, because it's not going to create any change or any, especially when they don't have a strategy to put it forward. So that idea even goes for me from being a good idea that yes, the government has a good idea to just a delusional thing that I can't see this government do, because this government is there to enrich only themselves. Because I could ask questions like, for how long are you going to supplement low-income earners? How are you going to change the economy? Not only the economy, but the material condition of low-income earners. So I don't think we can forget that they're there to only become rich and richer. People go to parliament to make money. Parliament has become something where you go to hold 300 million Ugandan shillings for the first time in your life and be able to actually be in debt of 1 trillion as well. And then you have to be in parliament for like 10 terms to pay off your debt and secure your retirement. That is the template we're in.
Thank you very much. And I think our producer, if a producer have some people that have already sent their messages or voice messages, we can listen to them as we go ahead. Because when you look at Desire, as you mentioned, and Elizabeth, when you look at how our system works, it's very, very evident that the people that we sent to parliament really are not to go for the people of Uganda. They don't have in mind that they are supposed to work for the people of Uganda. And actually, when I saw a lot of the members of parliament, they are so excited. And actually, I heard it from Honorable from Maokota, I think Honorable Nsibambi, senior lawyer Nsibambi was saying that the way he was seeing his fellow members of parliament, they were so excited that have even forgotten of what they are supposed to do. People are asking, "Oh, you have good perfume. Where did you buy it?" Well, I mean, that suit is very interesting to put on a parliament. Things that they are now thinking of. Yes, we have a caller. Hello? Yes, caller. Can you tell us who you are and then give your comment as quickly as possible?
Hello.
Yes, please. Go ahead. Yes, we hear you. Go ahead with your question or discussion.
Hello. Sebo. Dr. Mujebale nnyo Lizi ne muwala waffe omuto nze Jjajja.
Yes, Jjajja, go ahead.
Ati nze nja kwogera mu Luzungu ne mu Luganda.
It's okay.
Bino ebintu byonna bye mwogerako, you are forgetting that Museveni and his people came with an agenda. Before even they saw in, they had a plan of destroying Abaganda, of destroying Obuganda, no take out fake politics over fake opposition. Awulira Sebo?
Mpulira nnyabo. Genda maaso Jjajja tukuwulira.
Of take out fake opposition. Before you knew that the opposition was fake, bano abantu take out from when this man came, kubanga eno ensi efugibwa abantu nga 20 bokka. Bano bemulaba MP opposition oba whatever ezo dummies bana abasajja bajja bazicreatinga. Abaganda, I want you to remember, nze kanali nkula nga tumanyi nti Omuganda, a good one is a dead one. Ngera tuli bato nga dreams zaffe kujja Kampala. We didn't have any other dream. Nga tumanya Abaganda bagezi, Abaganda babbi, Abaganda bapita banyolo. This you should not forget. Everything you are paying for today was designed by these people to destroy each and everything you had. Kubanga mweko ya Uganda. The moment you are out like now, the better for Uganda. So all these politicians, everything that is going on was designed from the beginning. Abantu ne bajjanga babateekawo ab'empewo ba politicians nga ba influencing abalala babawa ssente to influence others year after year. There has never been any true political stand. Eyo template omwana gy'agamba was designed before everything came. Kabaka baamuleeta just okuba nti ye yawangula olutalo Museveni okujja. Naye kati bino ebintu Museveni byakola yabamala dde okubakolako abasse abataddemu bafeeka akoja buli kintu. Kati agezaako kumegga ate aluma ebyo byabavuma. There is nothing you can do or nothing better that is going to come out. I want to see an example. Yesterday, nze siri Muganda naye nakaabye okulaba nti baakozesezza Kabaka ng'abika asoma birango abika omukyala eyafudde nga Katikkiro atudde mu kifaananyi gwe balaga ng'aseka. Really, when you look at something like that, is it real? Is it normal? Ng'ate the narrative is ne Kabaka ebyo kiddowoozi lye. By training abantu aboogeranga Museveni, aboogeranga Kuloniza, aboogeranga Kabaka, kubanga there is no way Kabaka w'e Buganda n'ebitiibwa bye byayinza okujja eri abantu be mbwazze kubika mwana omu. Ebyo byonna bintu byakubaswaza kuba demoralizinga nakubatuusa kusenge. The only thing Buganda has to do is to find a way to fight for itself and put together the rest of Uganda. Kubanga ensi zino zonna zaabaawo because of Uganda.
Okay, Jaja ng'omaliriza obudde butukutte mukwano. Ng'omaliriza.
To wipe you out. Era they are not going to leave unless that happens. Okujjako nga mwerwanyeeko.
Thank you, Jaja. Thank you very much, Jaja. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another caller.
Bobby Wine.
Thank you, Jaja.
Next Tuesday, tukyagirina okulaba nti Bobby Wine ne Kaihura bamusira ekiwaanyi nga
Okay. Thank you very much, Jaja. Thank you. We cannot go beyond that. Callers, we want you to be very, very brief as you give in your submission so that other people can also participate in the show. If you have any other voice or any caller.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Can you speak up and speak your name if possible, and then you give your views? Yes,
Sandra nkulamisiza webale kuweereza Dr. Joko and Madam Elizabeth.
Thank you very much.
Video eyo abasirikale badde bakubira abantu.
Yes, Sebo.
Madam Elizabeth, waliwo point gyetumisinga ng'Abannayuganda. Museveni is a student of Julius Nyerere, right? Julius Nyerere yali implementing socialism mu Tanzania ne Ghana. Naye kati Museveni yayimirira n'agamba is going to agenda ki-implement agenda kikola kati Uganda bagikozesa nga working example. Kati bino ebimu abiteekawo eringa just ye ali kulaga abantu nti ye talina kyasobola kulemwa. Kakati nze ngamba nti okujjako nga Abannayuganda n'abantu abasomyeko bakitegeera nti Museveni is implementing socialism in Uganda and communism. Tetugenda kutegeera system ye. Nti opposition bennyini baganya ogitegeera. Tetugenda kufuna like freedom gye twagala nga tuganya okukkiriza nti Museveni sawa zino alikozesa system ziri ogamba enfuga eri eya 1800 nkati ng'eya China kubanga China nayo byabalema byabalema ne bagenda mu America abantu ne basoma ne bakola ne batereza ensi yaabwe ate Museveni akola ayagala kusooka ku eliminating aba indigenous olaba is breaking the country then amala agizimbe ng'agizimbira kuki ku family ye. So I think abantu abo mbadde nsaba mutunulewoko nze point yange ey'okuba nti nomulaba abantu amalwaliro tagafaako byakola abitegeera. The mistake we are doing fe tulinga abagamba nti oba omusajja alemeddwa talemeddwa kyakola akitegeera. Lwaki mulaba e Rwanda bali mu kikola? They are doing it just because here Uganda is working it up. They have to first break the country then bamale bagizimbe tibola basoose kuzimba magye banasooka kuzimba magye gabayambeko to implement their program. Tibola amagye balina ogateeka mu gundi mu economy mu natural resources nga gegafuga eyo. So my point.
Thank you very much, Sebo. Thank you very much. Your point is grounded.
This so they have their agenda. Kati ate bano ba politician ba opposition, I think either tebamanyi oba they are nabo just babasuubiza nti muyingire wano muwulire wano mu opposition tumutuleke eno tukole ekyaffe.
Yes, Sebo. Thank you very much, Sebo. Thank you. Your point is grounded. We shall share it, with our discussions here. Do we have any other caller? Yes, caller? Yes, caller, go ahead. Yes, we are hearing you. Can you go ahead, please?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hey. Okay, so thank you so very much for the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for
and,
also
my point of views. Yes, hello, do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All
yes,
right.
Go ahead. We hear you.
Thank you so very much for the show, Dr. Juko, Elizabeth, Madam Elizabeth, and Desire. This is and actually Richard who just left. I also have a few points to add on and a few observations. One, when it comes to the money they are promising to give to Ugandans. Now, there we need to understand Museveni has created two classes, and we have only two classes in Uganda. There is the upper class and the lower class. Now, the upper class are those guys now who've been we don't have a middle class in Uganda. Let us do not be fooled. There are no middle classes there. So much as he comes up all the time and says, well, yeah, I have a middle class. People have moved from this class to this middle class. We don't have a middle class. He wants the upper class to make decision and to rule. And this upper class is now where we have the parliament and and the judiciary. And so the lower class are all the rest, the minorities, the minorities in sense of earning, but the majority population. So the upper class is going to rule over and make decisions for everybody. Even these members of parliament that have been in the lower class who fought so hard, they've sold everything they had to move to the upper class. They are going there to say yes to everything. Now that it's like what Richard said, let me eat nicely and quietly. Please allow me eat. I've come from this class, let me eat now where I am. So that is the class. And those people now are going to also caring and catering for their interests. They're not catering for the interest of the lower class. And they are going to be the yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, whatever. You tell me to jump, I don't ask why and how high, I just jump. That is the cabinet Museveni has put in place. And those are the people we have in the upper class, we call the upper class, who are now going to decide for the lower class. Now, the other thing Museveni is doing is to raise the lower class of the planet so that he himself can stay there with just a few people they can now move and enjoy their country. Museveni is going to kill Ugandans in every way. It's either by the bullet, it's by putting them in jail, by disappearing and killing them and feeding them to crocodiles, by enslaving modern-day slavery, taking them into doing kadama work and leaving our countries. They are going to, now they are going to, the other way is poison. We have so many ways Museveni is killing the indigenous Ugandans, including now in this COVID, where he wants them to die of hunger. You're going to notice and witness a very high rise in crime rate. People's homes are going to be vandalized and people's lives are going to be in danger. People are going to kill each other for just a glass, for just sugar, because these people have sugar in their homes. Someone will have to go in and kill them to grab that just 1 kilo of sugar. People are going to, all the food in gardens is going to be stolen. People are going to start dying. People are going to start killing each other. Mob justice is going to increase because that's where Museveni enjoys best. Now that is done. So this issue of money, that is BS, and there's nothing that is going to do for the country, for the poor people. And majority, 90% of the people in Uganda are poor. 2, Buganda caucus. The moment these people have decided to sleep in the same bed with the junta, and look at Museveni, how he is disrespecting Uganda. He is coming out openly to show how much he hates Baganda and Uganda. For the past few years, he's been trying to masquerade and smear all this ghee on his face and act like he likes the Baganda and Uganda. But let him do not forget, Mr. Museveni shouldn't forget, that it's the Baganda. He says, that's why I put back these kingdoms for you to learn your cultures and all of this and help you. Now you're just localizing. We are localizing, first of all, because that's what we are. That's where you've put us. And we are not localizing anything. You categorically, Museveni said, the kingdoms should not participate in politics. And we have to remain with our local issues that concern us as the culture, as the tribe. We love our Kabaka. We love, and even those other tribes, they love their kings. They love the localities to protect their king. The localities protect their land. The locality is to teach the cultures and traditions of their cultures to their children and the cultures, and even to celebrate their cultures. That is the localization, the locality Museveni is talking about. What more do you want the tribes to go in? You forbade us from getting into politics, and we said, yes, let's remain local. And now you're castigating and, pointing and killing and, coming up and abusing us for being local. You're taking our land. Museveni is taking our land. Then Museveni has come out openly to show how much he hates. When he's talking about our Kabaka, he's just putting him down to his best. Our language, now he's, watering it down to nothing. Our culture and our language has so many words and it's so rich. Why is Museveni? And now today these people are coming. We are coming from the Buganda caucus. We are going to fight for the Ugandan interests. We are going to promote Uganda interests. Don't bullshit and don't tell people lies. The truth is that you're not doing anything. You're just looking for positions to earn. They're not going to do anything to benefit the Uganda or any region. Why is it, like Richard has said, why does it have to be formed in Parliament? Even Desire mentioned it. Why Parliament? Buganda issues are handled at Buganda Mengo in our Luchiko and our issues there. The Bunyoro issues, do they have also the Bunyoro issues in Parliament? Do they have the Arua issues in Parliament? Why do you have to swing around Buganda? Let us run our institution the way we want it to run, and do not bring us into Parliament. That Uganda caucus is a sham which is not going to do anything. And considering—
Thank you very much for your contribution. I think if we have any other caller from
because I want other people also to discuss.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do we have another caller? Yes. Another caller?
Yes, I would like to send my greetings to Mr. Katerega.
Thank you.
Our guests, Martin from Okongiri, you're most welcome to UNN. Mama Liz, our first Prime Minister, the next President, and our beloved one, Desire. What I can really comment to is one thing. Nti omusiru akutta abasiru kati bali mu kusiriwala. Tukkirizibwa okwogera Olugangereza ku UNN.
Yeah, that's true. Go ahead. What he was
Museveni is holding his people, the fools one, to impose them on their self-foolishness to we the civilized people. This one is a Truth Command Center, UNN. We can diagnose and understand. Friends, what I would like to ask you, Mr. Martin, really, what can you really teach us far from your diplomacy as we are moving to a new Uganda? If Mr. Martin had left, but I think Dr. Kasaga can also give us more light since we're the moderator, because really, this is a Truth Command Center, as Madam Elizabeth always tells us, because we've been blind, but UNN has come to take us in a new Uganda. Please, thank you, Mr. Katerega. Continue visiting, continue with your great smartness, continue holding this show. Thousands of diplomats are watching you all over the world. People, they are hiding in their beds, the MPs, the parliamentarians, and all ministers, they are holding UNN on their tables. Continue teaching.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As we hold on at that point, there's a caller that was very, I liked the way he talked about the issue of Parliament being held hostage of some of the president's issues. And actually, Desire was also very spot on when she said that they are playing into the president's template. I like the new phenomenal kind of words that you bring on board. There is something that we need also to understand, that all these people, regardless of thinking that they are going to do anything much out of Parliament, the Parliament is under siege, is under siege and under occupation, and they can do nothing. Actually, it is just a waste of people's, the taxpayers' money, because as you see, there is nothing at all that they will do without the approach. Without the consent of the dictator. Do we have some other callers as we try to wind up? Because we're really time bad. We need to go out of your site because it's almost our time gone. Our producer, do we have other questions or other people on call or messages? So, Desire, as we try to wind up, there is a caller. The caller was trying to give a very good surgical operation of what is really happening with the government, and she said that there is a need for everyone to understand exactly why the Buganda issue always comes in, and the president in many occasions has tried to underlook the king of Buganda, and yet you mentioned in your earlier submission that there wouldn't be Uganda without Buganda. What is your share about the caller's idea?
I'm going to talk about all the callers in one bracket to try and summarize everything that has been said. I want to start with the caller, like Jaja UNN brought it up. I think the elephant is in the room is we're all looking at it and not talking about it. But before I get to the elephant in the room, I want to get to the first caller who said that we forget that Museveni is Nyerere's student. Don't make that mistake. Museveni can never be Nyerere's student. Because when Julius Nyerere came into power, and what socialism and communalism means, Julius Nyerere came into power, took away all the salaries of people in parliament. And he even went to the bank, a president, Julius Nyerere, took out a loan. And instead of him having a big salary, took out a loan. And Julius Nyerere also left power after serving his terms in the hopes that African politics would change and people would leave when they're ready for power. So then that brings the question, who's Museveni's teacher? If it's not Nyerere, it's not Gaddafi, and it's not Uncle Bob from Zimbabwe. Who is Museveni's teacher? And that's the elephant in the room. It's the Tutsi dynasty, and that's something we talk about very less than all, and we should be talking about that often. This is a dynasty that that wants to dominate. And this is a whole conspiracy that has been sat on, has been hidden from Ugandans, has been around, has involved other nations in Uganda. We rarely talk about it, but this is the dynasty and plan that wants to grip the Great Lakes region and take everything. That's why it's important that we stay not Baganda, you stay not Munyoro, you stay not Mchiga, you stay not Mnyankore, because then we all can be integrated into this system that will leave us with nothing but nakedness. It's like take the resources, but you taking away someone's personhood and dignity.
Thank you very much. We have some voice messages. Can we run the messages as we try to wind up?
Would like to thank the moderator of the show, Dr. Juko, and all the guests in the studio, Madame Elizabeth, Desire. We are really grateful. Would also like to thank Mr. Vyakuleka for touching the governance systems of our country. Until we address that, we are just on a dry run. Governance, governance, governance. Now we understand that it was for private interests that the president captured power. But for those that will come going forward, governance questions need to be addressed as soon as possible. Otherwise, we are going to have a rogue generation. We are going to have people with values, but they don't have the space to practice them. We are going to have a problem. And all of us can't go abroad. So I am just worried for our children. That's my biggest fear. What do we tell our children? That you don't steal? And then they see somebody stealing and then he's glorified by society. So those are some of my worries. So our governance systems need serious overhaul. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And just to re-echo, the governance starts from when we are born. How are we raised? In what setup? What is our culture? What are our values? What are our norms? This is what we grow up with in schools. And then they keep polishing us until we go to the workplace. Now, this man is the president is trying to erase that entire DNA. And I don't know, because I'm wondering, some of us grew up orphans because our parents were fighting for freedom, whatever. And now we're also worried in which kind of country are we leaving our children in? If we were to die today, where do we leave our children? So is it wrong to tell my child to be honest, to be transparent, to be exemplary? Now it is a facade. And we've got to fight this because that is what is happening today. We are losing an entire generation to this lunacy. Eve from Uganda.
Thank you. Do we have another caller? Do we have another voice?
Good evening, everyone. Naye nze ngenda kukozesa Luganda olw'ekyo sirisefu bulungi n'asonyiwa. Naye bannange, ebintu bino bikusobera ne bikutama. Amannya gange mpitibwa Adikini, ndi muwala mu Lukwala. Naye nze nasomera ku ssente za Buganda. Buganda yeyampa basale. nze ekyenjagaza omusajja oyo Kabaka Mutebi ti ye yagabanga basale nga wakyaliwo kyansaawo Mengo nga tebaawulamu tribe oba oli wa tribe ki oba oli wa tribe ki ng'ofuna basale. Era kiba kinnuma nnyo yadde ndi muwala mu Lugwala okulaba ng'omusajja oyo ayisibwamu amaaso. Kinnuma okitegeera ekyo naye ak'obuntu tetukalina, ak'obuntu kaatuggwamu olw'enkula gye twakulamu ne gye baatukuzaamu. N'ekirala bagamba atalina mannyo Katonda bw'awa ennyama, naye Munnayuganda mukozi, Omunnayuganda mukozi. Omukazi Omuganda ye mukazi gw'oyinza olekera n'atali Muganda, kale Munnayuganda kankyogere bwe ntyo abamu mw'osanga omukazi gw'oyinza olekera omutwalo n'akulaga nti azannyako ekibiina ate n'akulaga nti afumba emmere n'ewaka ne balya. Munnayuganda mutetenkanya naye gavumenti yaffe teyatuteekerateekera. Kubanga olaba ne w'obeera Saudi so kali nabo baayize omutwe bawoza Uganda kwesi kubanga baba bamanyi Bannayuganda bakozi ate bayonjo. Okiwulira? Naye era bannange ow'amalibu Katonda gwawa ennyama. Tulina ekintu Katonda kye yali yatuwa oba kye yatuteekamu naye nga kyansi eyo ate ffe tetusobodde gifuna gikozesa. Ate tugifunye.
Thank you very much. Just two voice and then we try to wrap up because we are really caught up by time.
Dr. Juko, Madam Eliza, and Miss Desire, and our visitor, Mr. Jakuleka. Thank you very much for today's intellectual analysis. Really, you really hit a point. Thank you very much. I like the way you present things. In today's edition, this is the cream. This is a cream Mr. Chimwe has been talking about. Keep it up. Go on. Thank you. Bye. Okay, Doctor, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm called Sally Fred. Bye.
Thank you very much. Do we have another voice as we try to wind up? I think because of time, we cannot have any more callers or more voices. Madam Elizabeth, we try to wind up according to what you've had people commenting. Can you wrap them up in around 2-3 minutes?
Well, there's the issue, the Buganda issue. I find it very distasteful the way Museveni tries to mimic the Luganda language. Yeah, there's a time we say now when he's trying to talk about what is happening, how he restored. Imagine actually saying that he has restored the Uganda kingdom. Where had it gone?
It's a ridicule anyway. If you say somebody you restored Uganda has been there for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah.
So he's telling us that, he did us a favor and restored it, and then we're busy localizing. The word localizing in English sounds good, but he's actually saying malo.
That's true.
Yeah, like that.
He said localism and colloquialism.
Yeah. He's trying to put us down.
Yeah.
it is unacceptable behavior, and I think he needs to stop, because their language or his language is not that, well spoken. It's not well spoken at all. But I cannot see anybody coming onto such a platform or in front of cameras and start putting another person's language down. It's very unacceptable behavior, and I think it needs to stop. The other issue is about the parliament and us not realizing that what Museveni has done or was here to do. I think Desire has elaborated on that. Well, Museveni, once the parliament is settled, he believes that the country is running effectively. Once he has them under his wings, because that is where his problem is, that if you try to how can I even put the best way to put it is if he sees you as an opponent, because there are no opponents in our government, but if you stand out as an opponent, then he'll have you picked up, and dealt with. So he tries as much as possible to have every one of them under his grip. And then he goes on a rampage and runs the country down the way he has been doing in the last 35 years. We're all aware of what is happening, but what is there to do? Who can do anything? There were people like the Nabandas who got murdered because they found his way of dealing with the country quite distasteful. And Nabanda herself, if Museveni stood up to talk in parliament, she would walk out. That is how bad it had gotten, because she saw him as a person that was not working in the best interest of Uganda. So I think we know what is going on. We are aware of what is going on. A majority of people that are putting themselves forward as members of parliament know what is going on. I mean, if it was somebody that had great values about what is happening, about what it means to become an MP, then, I mean, people shouldn't be lining up to go for, lining up and contesting to become those area MPs or districts, to go into parliament to work with somebody like Museveni. Because, if you're not going to change anything, then why are you even putting yourself forward? Well, knowing that this man has a grip of the country, he has politicized everything, he's micromanaging everything, he's running the country down. And over the years, it's been evident that nobody, not the ministers, nobody or anyone in opposition can stand in his way of getting what he wants or doing what he wants. So we know what is going on, but we cannot do anything about it. Our hands are tied.
Thank you very much, Madam Elizabeth. On that very note, Madam Elizabeth, can you say goodbye to our viewers as we look forward to having another program on Sunday?
Yeah, sorry, I had technical problems that came onto the platform quite late, but I have enjoyed the show. It was nice being here this afternoon, all evening, or night, wherever you're watching from. Have a good enjoy the rest of the day, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much, Madam Elizabeth. Desire, as we wrap up, can you say bye-bye to our viewers and your last remarks?
My last remarks would be, Ugandans, let us not forget that without the strong power hold, that this is not a war only for Uganda, because the strong political power hold for the whole of Uganda just happens to be in Buganda. So whatever is happening to Buganda is also something that all other nations that add up Uganda should pick up interest in. Because with the destruction of Buganda will come the destruction of Uganda as you know it. Uganda will never be the same. So it just happens that Buganda just happens to be the strong powerhold of all of Uganda. No, of all of Uganda. So this is something we should remember. This is something we should know. And there is no other way that you can ever destroy your enemy. I call them enemies because they came to destroy us without knowing the system that they are using to destroy you and to make sure that you do not rise up against them and repress you. So as we learn the system that they're using, let us empower ourselves to move forward and for the betterment of not only our nations, but for the betterment of Uganda as a whole. And I appreciate being here today. And I look forward to the next shows that will be coming up next Sunday. It's been a good discussion. I've learned a lot. And hopefully we could push this information forward so I could get to the people that need to hear it. And also as we learn and morph and grow for the betterment of our material conditions.
Thank you very much, Desires. Thank you very much for your wonderful submission as we tried to discuss some of the issues that are really have been trending within the week in Uganda. Before I finish up, I would like to, answer the president of Uganda, Mr. Museveni, that Ugandans are not local, as he says. Mr. President, Ugandans are not local. Ugandans are not colloquial, as you say. Ugandans are not naive. Ugandans know what they want. They are local because they have their roots and they want to grow their children in such roots. And our roots are the traditions of Uganda, traditions of other kingdoms, which they have to share with their children for continuity of their cultures. Therefore, it's always very, very abusive and very disrespectful to tell Ugandans that they are acting in localism and colloquialism. That is very, very indecent. Our viewers, we've been so grateful that you've been with us for all these 2 hours, and we hope to have you once again on Sunday. But don't forget to continue with the discussion as it flows down with our great viewers trying to give in their views. The continuation of the show on the platforms with your discussion is very paramount, by also sharing it out to other people that have not gotten the chance to watch it live. We also thank you very much for the effort that you put in to give us to contribute for the development and well-being of our platforms, and we wish you could do more of that. I can't forget also to thank my producer, who has been very evident and categorical to try to make sure that this show goes right. We also beseech you to continue watching UNN, because right now what is coming next is the great Henry Gombia, Tonight with Henry Gombia with Prince Paul. We wish you the best. We thank very much all our people at the background that have been doing everything possible to make sure that we are making this show over to you, our viewers. Thank you very much. We thank you. See you next Sunday. God bless you, and God bless Uganda. Thank you.